Hello, Drift fans, and welcome to the Garden State, New Jersey Wall Stadium Speedway. This is Advanced Auto Parts, the Gauntlet, presented by Black Magic. And we have some clouds in the sky, courtesy of Mother Nature, as well as some of the best drifters in the world. I'm Jared Gienda. You are Ryan Sage. Ryan, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good.
Making a great event.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather's just been phenomenal.
Let's take a look at our standings overall. This is pre-qualifying, so coming into New Jersey, again, pre-qualifying. So Odie Bob, with those wins in both Long Beach and in Orlando, he is leading the pack. Frederick Osmo sitting there in second. Chris Forsberg in third. He has a couple podiums there. Forrest Wang, who we talked about, had a podium in Long Beach. And then Piotr Physik rounding out that top five.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantane. Now, Ryan, yesterday was setup day in qualifying. We were filling 32 slots. We got 31 filled because we did have a DNF from one driver, was not able to complete a scored run. So break down today the tandem format in competition.
Well, today's the big show. We have drivers competing in single elimination head-to-head battles. Each battle consists of 2 runs. Each driver is going to get to lead and chase in each battle. The higher qualifier, of course, is going to lead at first and then is going to chase second. And the 3 judges, myself, Brian, and Andy, are either going to choose a winner or we can also go one more time.
We spent a little bit of time talking yesterday about the decel map and the areas on course where it's applicable. Let's underline it a little bit more today and give us some insight and thoughts about how this might play out in today's competition.
You can see the first one there at the top right of the screen. That's an initiation. Generally a very small zone where they're going to decel, quick handbrake pull, getting the car to angle, getting the car settled, and then back on throttle as quickly as possible. The biggest decel area here is at just past inside clip 1 where they're going into outside zone 2. They have a pretty good amount of speed at that point, and they need to get the car set into outside zone 2 with the right amount of angle that will help them slow down and get them around that zone. Going to the touch and go area there after inside clip 2, it's a tricky spot because there is a bit of a slippery area on the paint line there, so the drivers sometimes are overshooting that area and having to slow down too much. So that's an area we're going to have to keep an eye on from the lead drivers so that they're not over slowing, which would cause the chase driver to have to check up and not really be able to fulfill what they're supposed to do in the chase position.
Let's get into the incompletes and talk about how they differentiate from qualifying to head-to-head.
So the first 3 on the list are exactly the same as in qualifying. So if you spin out, you drift in the opposite direction anywhere on the course than you should be. Anything latchable opening, hood, hatch, doors, trunk. And then on top of that, we have in tandem competition, unsportsmanlike conduct, an inactive chase from that chase driver, letting the lead driver get away because they think, you know what, the other driver made a mistake on the previous run. I don't have to be close. I'm going to give him some room. Well, if you give too much room, inactive chase is going to be inactive there for you. And then, of course, an unchaseable lead, which is one that is kind of all over the place in the lead position. One that is not easily chaseable or isn't chaseable at all from that chase driver.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much. Definitely encourage all our fans to listen to these openings, get the insight directly from you guys. You are watching the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic, and this is round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Up next, it is game day. The top 32 kicks off.
Cars are getting prepped. I can hear them in the burnout box getting started. All the buzz here. He is buzzing, scoring a 100-point run. The first since 2006. The Falcon Tires Roush Performance Ford Mustang. As we are live here at round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship, Wall Stadium Speedway. And JTP will have that buy run. Unfortunately, we came into this event with 32 vehicles. Unfortunately, Sebastian Gauthier from Canada failed to throw up a score. So fortunately for Justin Pawlak, he gets a fast pass into top 16. JTP. Watch, listen, feel. Smell the rubber here as he initiates into that first outside zone. Kicking things off where he left them last. We saw him really throwing down in practice. A lot of turn and burn for a lot of these drivers. Past that front clip. And that's that X factor that we were talking about, Ryan. Just the way he throws it into the transitions. Just has an amazing, graceful way about him, just throwing it in really hard and hanging out there. So JTP, Justin Pawlak will advance, obviously with that #1 qualification, and then with that bye run, JTP advances on into the top 16 without having to do battle, Ryan.
Yeah, It's a great run for him overall here. Just another practice lap, essentially, to give himself an opportunity to understand how the conditions are right now. But for him, he's going to go take a big break here and come back out for the top 16 ceremonies. And that little flick right there on that second inside clip, Jared, is really what got him where he was yesterday with that 100-point run.
Yeah, GTP very excited, still buzzing from yesterday's qualifying. I saw his Instagram and just hashtag blessed, he said. Dylan Hughes, he is in the chute. He's ready to come down, go to that start line. This LS-powered BMW Advanced Auto Parts Black Magic BMW. He's going to be going against Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones in that Doc Nexon tire Nissan 370Z. Both these guys living in Southern California. Dylan Hughes originally from Washington. You can see Dylan Hughes actually part of the Blackout powered by Black Magic web series. Both him, Ryan Tuerck, Chris Forsberg. Here we go. Send it for our first official battle here, round 4. The Formula Jeff Black Magic Pro Championship. Dylan Hughes goes into that first outer zone. Jeff Jones in tow. Dylan Hughes very high, touches that back bumper on the wall. Coming down now into the transition, very smooth, is Dylan Hughes actually taking out that front clip. Now into that second outer zone. Dylan Hughes gets out there. Jeff Jones gives himself a bit of a buffer here. About the second hash mark on that outside zone, now coming to the inside clip. That is a touch and go there. They don't want to hang out too long. Tighten it back up to that front clip. And we are officially seeing our first head-to-head battle, Ryan.
Well, we know that we're going to see some close proximity here, but the initiation is ever so important. You want to try to get in the pocket as the chase driver, but not so low that you're on a visibly lower line here. Now, as both drivers come through that first inside clip, you can see a little bit of adjustment as Dylan Hughes takes out that inside clip and then has to adjust a tiny bit, but you can see in the fight here with Jeff Jones, he's not maintaining that great of proximity. He's letting Dylan stay out front. Dylan is reaching out to that touch and go and comes through the finish line here. So a good start here for battle number 1. Let's take a look on board. As you can see, the initiation, Dylan Hughes touches the gate up there on the wall. And that really dangerous siding that's up there. We've seen a lot of crashes over the years. Here's Jeff Jones attacking. And here we go, mixing things up.
Yeah, they are going, and it's a real dogfight, just going back and forth here. Dylan Hughes on the transition, exploding that front clip. You know, yesterday in qualifying, they were deducted 2 points. So that definitely affected qualifying. But I know Ken Gushi even on social media saying, man, just this high of a score still doesn't get you in the top 10, which is pretty crazy. That just shows you the driving prowess of the talent here this year. Jeff Jones initiating into the outside zone. Looks like Jeff is very settled up there. Nice job by Jeff Jones. Now coming down into that front clip, into that second outer zone goes Jeff. Again, the judges want to see that back tire in between the white and the yellow line. Jeff with a wide swing around that front clip, then tightens it up. Jeff, like we were saying, Ryan, just really coming on strong. Dylan applying some pressure there towards the end.
Well, here's Jones initiating midline on the bank, starts moving his way up here. A little bit of a gap there. Now Dylan starting to close it. Good momentum through that first inside clip. Dylan coming through the smoke line. Here's Jeff Jones getting that left rear wheel right on that outside zone. Dylan falling back a car length, trying to close the door as Jones hits that last part of that outside zone, snaps it on that third hash mark on that inside clip, out to the touch and go. Here comes Dylan Hughes closing the door towards the end. And a good back and forth battle here as we see Jones initiate. You can see those yellow lines, the last point of initiation there. There's also the standing cone up there on top for the drivers to be able to see it, as well as the fans. And then coming through this last section of the course, that second inside clip, ever so important to get out to that touch and go. And here's Dylan closing the door here through that final inside clip.
Here we go. Slide him left for Jones or right for Dylan Hughes. And it looks like they are going one more time, and it is unanimous. We're going to bring in Ryan Lontaine here, and we're getting a lot of applause from the fans here in the building.
It looked like they were both making mistakes in the lead and chase positions. Dylan, on his lead position, tapped the wall a couple of times on outside zone 1, so that kind of changed his angle a little bit, kind of slowed him down. You could see that at that time, Jeff Jones was actually able to catch up to him a little bit, but then Jeff Jones fell back, and the same thing happened once they swapped positions. They weren't really doing a great job in either position, so I'd like to see them go again and try to make it clear to us who's the winner in both positions.
Right on. Thank you very much, Ryan Lontaine. Next up, Chris Forsberg, Jonathan Castro. One time, Castro actually driving a CFR, Chris Forsberg Racing prepared vehicle. Right now, Chase looks like he's going down there. What's going on with Castro? Maybe wanted to pull up just a touch more. Yep, looks like pulling up just a touch more. Chris Forsberg will lead. Chris qualified 8th compared to Jonathan Castro. He qualified 25th. So we'll go back to the Hughes-Jones battle. Right now, Forsberg versus Castro. Forsberg leading that NOS Energy Drink 370Z on Nexen tires. Castro, Jardot, Metal Dom. Nexen tires, Toyota 86, both of them high on the bank. Castro right there in formation, a little bit lower there as Forsberg keeps it high. But a good idea there for Castro. And Forsberg gets all the way to the outside zone. Castro feeling the flow now in that chase position. Chris Forsberg going with that GTR power setup under the hood. And now into that final clip. Ryan, man, if this is a sign of things to come, we're going to have an exciting day.
Well, we know Castro is very comfortable on these short course oval banked tracks, and you can see right here as Forsberg designating a really nice lead run up on top of the bank. Castro is not letting him get away. He dipped down a little bit, but he's keeping the pressure on in terms of proximity. And a lot of times what the judges will be looking at is if they're in proximity, were they making any mistakes or were they doing it cleanly? Castro keeping proximity here while Chris is out front. He's driving a really solid lead run overall, so that's what we're going to expect from Castro. But you can see Castro really had some moments there where he's putting the pressure on Chris and maintaining really good distance to him, surging forward, backing off when he needed to, but keeping general overall proximity in this battle.
Well, you got to think that Chris is, I mean, Castro does as well. He's been in the Formula Jeff Championship for many years. Chris, quite a bit longer since he's been around since day one, 16 years in the Formula Jeff Championship. And obviously a lot of turning here at Wall. All right, Castro now initiates. He is high, great angle, and on the bank for Castro and Forsberg. Looks like he loses it coming off of the bank. Castro continuing on through the course. And Castro looks like he will have the victory here, but we're gonna have to take a look. Oh, and look at Castro spins! Wow! So Ryan, lead versus lead, chase versus chase, and both of them spinning, and it didn't look like there was contact on either behalf, but let's roll the tape because with Castro in the lead, what do you think? Well,
I think it looks at first pass like Castro may have given that one away. In this area on the bank here, this is an acceleration zone, so let's keep an eye on Castro as he's moving forward. It looks like he's moving 4 and 5. Looks like Chris came up a little bit tight there, and he had to pull out of it. Now, if that is the case, Castro, all he needs to do is finish the run here, and Chris would have an incomplete on that run. However, as we get through the rest of the run, we see Castro, who's way out ahead, independently spin right before the finish line. Now, that would mean that Castro has an incomplete, if I'm reading that correctly. That would mean an incomplete for Chris and an incomplete for...
Watch right here.
Yeah, this section right here. This is where the incomplete for Castro takes place. But just to go through it, an incomplete separately from Castro and possibly an incomplete from Chris, that means it would default back to the previous run and who did better there.
All right, so do we have a verdict? Are they going one more time? Slide. Oh, look at that, and it looks like another one more time. So, man, 2 one more times. Are we we're gonna see another scenario like last year? What do you think he spun for?
I don't know. We've seen a few drivers in that area actually spinning for the same type of reason, which it looks like it could be a tire issue, getting the car slowed down for the touch and go and then trying to get back on throttle to ease the car into inside clip 1 has proved to be more challenging than it looks.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. And yeah, as we were talking about, you know, modifying, changing the course here, there's a lot of abuse there on that back left with all these right-hand turns. Ryan Tuerck and Dirk Stratton, here we go. Ryan Tuerck in this gum out. Nitto tire, Toyota Race, Toyota 86, Dirk Stratton in the Stratton Chevrolet Lingenfelter Corvette as Ryan Tuerck high on the bank. That 2JZ Power, Toyota 86, Dirk Stratton coming on down. Bit of a gap, being some separation here between them. And now in finishing that second outer zone, past that Black Magic intense tire clip. And now into, and Dirk Stratton shuts it down. I know he was having some belt issues yesterday. Let's take a look at this again.
Well, unfortunately, it looks like Stratton here is going to pick up an incomplete on his chase run, which puts a lot of pressure on him in his lead run if he's indeed able to make it back to the line. It's a pretty good lead run out front by Ryan Tuerck. You can see he's really committed to the throttle control. He had nice fluid momentum through that first inside clip. Now as he finishes up the second outside zone, a nice sweep around that second inside clip. Good transition there, staying on throttle, getting out to that touch and go, and that's where you see Stratton in the background there, unwind, drift, and looks like it's more likely a mechanical that is haunting him here. So we'll have to see if he calls a competition timeout or what he chooses to do here on the second half of this battle.
Dirk Stratton is calling a competition timeout, so Stratton is calling a competition timeout. As all hands on deck to get this belt on. Wind blowing that hood back, and you can see hashtag Drift Vet. They're coming to us from Ohio. They own a Chevy dealership, Stratton Chevrolet, one of his title sponsors, as well as Achilles Tire, NK Wheels, Lingenfelter, and now a great looking car, always a fan favorite, Yellow Speed Racing, Energy Innovations, Achilles Tire, and of course he is the lead scientist at the Gittin laboratory in Las Vegas. Car 808, this is Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang did a really good job yesterday, qualifying 4th. Very smooth driver, and really has the power now to match his smooth driving. So very exciting driver to watch. And now coming up, you could see the prancing pony, the Ferrari of Fiorella. This is Federico Sharifa on Nexen tires. Coming to us from Italy, and looking forward to seeing Forrest Wang, Federico Sharifa. See if we get a verdict here. So again, comp timeout for Dirk Stratton. You're allowed only one and only one throughout the entirety of the whole weekend. That includes yesterday in qualifying and today, obviously. So Forrest Wang will lead. He qualified 4th compared to Federico Sharifa, who qualified 29th. Federico would love to upset Forrest Wang here. Let's see if this V12 nitrous powered Ferrari can hang with the 2JZ of Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang coming into that first outer zone. Forrest Wang initiates. Some straightening there by Federico. Takes a little bit of angle at it to gain that proximity. Now comes down that transition. Neither car disrupted at all. Look at that, Forrest Wang digging in. Oh, and Federico right there. Get to the door of the Silvia, and Forrest Wang dragging that Super Duke bumper up on the bank, but does not, the tire doesn't go up. So might be dragging bumper on the bank, but again, the car is not going up.
Well, it got a bit hairy there towards the end. Let's take a look at this one more time. As we see from above, both drivers heading down that banked straight. And boom, snaps into it as Forrest Wang, nice and high. You can see Federico's on a little bit of a lower line there. He starts to close the door, but Forrest Wang was maintaining a higher line on the bank overall. Good movement by Forrest. Now he's right in the crease right here. You can see his wheel and his tires just right at the edge, but Federico surging forward there, trying to close the door. Very tight on that inside clip is Forrest Wang. Now diving through the smoke line is Sharifa, and he may have even made contact with him right there, and then Sharifa is going to go off course just past that inside clip. So Sharifa definitely has got some grip in the vehicle today. Wang, a beautiful lead run out front, and a few moments there where they were quite close to each other. Switching things up now. Federico Sharifa will go to the lead, and Forrest Wang will chase him down.
Lead versus lead, chase versus chase, and Federico, you can see him firing off. A little purge of the nitrous as Federico will lead Forrest Wang in this chase position. All right. Federico initiating into the bank, and Forrest Wang looks like he is getting all over that track. Started low, went high. Oh, as Federico punts that front clip out of the way. Federico seems to be pulling away from Forrest Wang. And Forrest Wang now getting to the side of the Ferrari. And tight to that front clip. So Ryan did not expect that from Forrest Wang on initiation. Let's take a look at it again.
Well, as we said, Federico finding some grip here. Gets a little bit of a stepped initiation, mid-high line. Forrest tries to chase him down, but then Federico shoots a little bit lower on the bank. Coming through that inside clip, he taps it through the smoke line as Forrest. And then right here, Forrest is going to fall back. A little bit less angle than Federico through that section of the course. Nice movement back around there by Federico as he transitions to this touch and go. Here comes Forrest trying to close the gap here, but Sharifa more or less holding him off and not letting him get door to door. So great job by both drivers in a very close battle here. And so far, we have not seen a driver move on just yet. We've got a couple one more times, and Sharifa pumped in the vehicle, really hyped on his performance there, going to the judges.
Slide him left for Federico, slide him right for Forrest Wang. Ryan says Forrest Wang. Brian says one more time, and Andy says Forrest Wang gets the win. Ryan, I'm going to go over to you, 2-1, but you can see Federico always having a good time, smile on his face, dressed to impress, but 2-1.
Yeah, Brian just told me he didn't like Forrest's chase, so that's why he went with the one more time call for, I assume, for Andy and myself. Looking at what Forrest did in the lead run was pretty clean. He put the car in the right places, and Federico was just a step behind. Couldn't quite get the car positioned properly, missed a couple of areas. He was a little bit low on outside zone 1, and then in Federico's lead, he did build a gap there, but he wasn't really filling the zones the way that we'd like to see him. He was correcting the car a little bit in transitions as well, so we did go to Forrest Wang.
Got it. You're a hard-working man, Ryan.
Oh, thanks, Jared.
Is that a compliment?
What?
I think it's a compliment, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, you're welcome. All right. What's that? Oh, no. We just got word. So, again, all hands on deck right before he went into the chute. Dylan Hughes and his team, he now called the competition timeout, and now our race control up here came over and said, gave me the throat chop, says Dylan is done. So unfortunately for Dylan Hughes, who had a really good run yesterday and just looked gangster. He really threw it out there, and it seems like he's getting the car figured out, but you know what, the car said, nope, not today.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, every athlete in the series likes to go out of competition if they have to by being fairly beat by another competitor. They don't want to be beat by their own car. So unfortunately, Dylan Hughes will be exiting stage left, and Jeff Jones will be moving right on into the top 16.
Yeah, what a bummer. I know the team, and just yeah, you know, I mean, it's just to go out like that just is very unfortunate. And they'll find it. All right, so Jeff Jones will take his bye run. You, of course, want to get the win, but like that, it's just, you'd like to see getting the win in victory as opposed to just by default. All right, so here's Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones on his bye run. This means he will advance on into the top 16. He is going to be going against Justin Pawlak, JTP. This Nexon Tires, NRG Innovations, Doc, Nissan 370Z. And just his level of driving, the car build and everything has just really progressed. Jeff Jones heading on into the top 16 as he exits the track. There's Forrest Wang. As we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue on here with top 32, round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. If you're watching online, share with all your friends via Facebook, YouTube, or however you're watching, hashtag FDNJ. Dirk to go against Ryan Tuerck. He was ready to send it. So now keep in mind, this is the second half of this battle. Dirk on the first portion of the battle when he was chasing, shut it down. Tuerck finished out the course. So Ryan Tuerck with pretty large advantage. So Dirk really needs to bring all the heat, and also I would think that he needs Ryan Tuerck to make a major mistake in order to get an advancement or even to go one more time. All right, so this is run 2 of this battle. Dirk Stratton, Ryan Tuerck. Who's moving on? the winner to go against either Chris Forsberg or Jonathan Castro in their one more time battle. So Ryan Tuerck could be going against his blackout teammate of Chris Forsberg. Dirk Stratton looks like that belt is fixed, and Dirk Stratton looks like, yep, the belt is actually on the course. You could see it. So just another issue here. Supercharger is gone, and it looks like that'll be all she wrote, unfortunately. Again, we'd love to give Don a happy birthday present, but all we can do is wish him happy birthday right now. But it's going to be, you can see there's the belt right there on the straightaway. All right, and slide him left for Stratton, but you know the outcome here. Slide him right for Ryan Tuerck. Ryan Tuerck gets the win. Ryan Tuerck advances on. As Chris Forsberg now back to the start line for his one more time battle against Jonathan Castro. Castro and Forsberg. Again, many years ago, Castro was driving a prepared Nissan 370Z. Now Castro, his vehicle operated by Papadakis Racing. So here we go. The one more time battle of Forsberg and Castro. Chris Forsberg initiated into the bank. High on the bank goes Chris Forsberg. Castro right there once again, very similar to that first run. Now into that transition, into that flat section, past that front clip, into the second outer zone. Castro has a major correction there. You see him throwing it in, and he talked about that, the gremlins, the electrical issues. That's what he had on that first battle. And now transitioning through into that second outer zone on the front clip.
Take a look at this, the way that Castro initiates from the chase, allowing him to get into the pocket there. He's on a little bit of a lower line here than Chris, but he's keeping good proximity here. But as you said, Jared, coming through this first inside clip, Castro's going to angle up really big here and have to pull some angle out. Now, you have to know that Chris's spotter is going to let him know what happened in the chase position here. And as Chris lays down a solid, clean lead run, you have to imagine that Castro's really going to have to go out there and throw out something big. And just knowing from what the judges said in run number one, he's got to be kicking himself here, knowing that he would have won that battle had he not spun out before that last inside clip. So switching things up now, Jonathan Castro going to the lead, and Chris Forsberg chasing him down.
His spirits seemed still very high, even though dealing with those electrical issues. So Castro still having some confidence here. He's going to throw down a solid lead run, as you said, Ryan. He seems to really do well when it comes to these banked oval courses, such as Orlando Speedway. It looks like we do have a restart. So looks like that'll be a strike against Castro. If you'll notice, we don't have the start chicane here. You can see how banked this course is. This is the most aggressive bank we have in the Formula Championship. So on the start, you'll see the cars actually just slide down. So the start chicane not being instituted here in New Jersey. Looks like Chase, our starter, talking to Castro. Let him know we got you got a strike there, bud. And clear to send. You can see the start light just to the right of the vehicles on the other side of the fence. All the lights will illuminate, and once they extinguish, the lead driver can go. The chase car can actually jump the light. All right, here we go. So Castro really jumping out there quickly, getting into that bank. So Castro high on the bank. Forsberg now coming down. Looks like he's giving himself a little bit of a buffer here. Into that second outer zone goes Castro. Forsberg now trying to rock those Nexons into the side. Both these guys on Nexon tire, transitioning in that second outer zone. Or excuse me, that touch and go. And that final front clip. So
well, here we go. Castro really pushing here on initiation, getting nice and high on that wall, but then moving his way down here. Chris keeping good proximity coming through this first inside clip. Looking for an area to attack here. He tucks up right in the pocket against Castro. Here he is on that second outside zone. Castro's a little bit shallow there, not getting all the way out to the line. I like that transition by Castro to that second inside clip, but through the smoke line is Chris. Now we have to go back to that first run. Remember that mistake that Jonathan made in his chase run. So lead versus lead, chase versus chase, and who did better overall as we go immediately to the judges.
Slide him left for Castro or right for Chris Forsberg. Chris Forsberg gets the win. But a round of applause for Jonathan Castro, a great effort. Unfortunately, just that, I believe, that small mistake on the first portion of that run. I'm getting the head nod without even having to converse. That's how in sync we are. It's gonna be May. Yeah, that's how it is. Get the in sync joke? Yeah, so what's funny there is Chris Forsberg will go against Ryan Tuerck. They're teammates, they're homies, they're friends. Other friends, these guys. These are both Drift Cave prepared vehicles. Matt Field, owner of Drift Cave. He's behind the wheel of that Falcon Tires Borla Corvette, and the other vehicle is his car as well. It's behind the wheel of that is passionate Pat Goodin. Talking to Pat yesterday in the pits after qualifying, he was a bit nervous, a bit anxious about how is this going to go down. I said, man, why don't you go talk to Chelsea? It seems like Chelsea and Vaughn do so many battles against each other. So right now, who is going to advance on out of this Drift Cave camp? Matt Field or Pat Goodin? And look at Pat Goodin out qualifying the boss. Pat Goodin qualifying 13th. Matt Field qualifying 20th. And quickly, Pat Goodin and Matt Field go toe-to-toe. Pat Goodin locked and loaded high on the bank and really tight to that wall. Matt Field now diving in. No risk it, no biscuit. The beast from the Bay trying to get after Passionate Pat. Big angle from Pat using all of the course. Now past that front clip, punching it out of the way into this touch and go. Looks like he gets up there and then brings it back down into that front clip. Makes some noise for Goodin and Field. Woo! They're feeling Goodin.
Well, good battle here. You can see Field going that nose to tail initiation, getting right up there with Pat Goodin. Goodin nice and high on the bank. Great smoke line. Here comes Field, keeping the pressure on these teammates, doing battle here. Great crossover right there by Matt Field, tucking up on the inside, but look at Pat Goodin out front, deep into that second outside zone. Good angle, but he goes a little bit wide there as he leaves the outside zone. Oh, and tight on that inside clip, knocking that cone out of the way. Matt Field about a car length back as both drivers wrap through that final inside clip, and a doozy of a first run there between these two teammates.
All right, so Pat looks like shredding some fiberglass and might be stuck underneath the vehicle, might have to pack him up. So Matt Field will now lead. Pat Goodin will give chase. Matt, you can see inside the cockpit, the mirrored visor, the beast from the Bay, 777. Got them heat wave shades on. Here we go. Send it, fellas. Matt Field initiates. Both of them mirroring each other's angle. Pat could be a little closer. Now coming past that front clip. Good execution from Field. Pat needs to just gain some ground, and there he does. Field looking very smooth. Now getting out to that touch and go. Goes Field, and here comes Pat. So Field with the clean air looking a lot more calm and composed as opposed into the chase position.
Well, side-by-side initiation here, and then Pat tucks nose to tail as well. You can see Matt Field, pretty good job on the bank, staying nice and high. Pat Goodin coming down with them. A little bit of an adjustment there from Field coming through that first inside clip, where Pat was far enough back, didn't seem to affect him too much. Now Pat driving through the smoke line of Matt Field as they leave that second outside zone, coming up on the inside. Field tight on that inside clip, does not hit the cone. And now Goodin trying to close the door in this last section of the course, but Field able to pull away and keep a little distance there towards the end.
Slide him left for Matt Field, slide him right for Pat Goodin. Ryan, Andy, and Brian. Ryan says Pat Goodin, Andy says Matt Field. Brian says, one more time. So that with a completely split decision, Ryan, that is 1, 2, 3, one more times. Here we go. Back to the action. James the Machine Dean, two-time defending champion, going against Kyle the Menace Mohan. James Dean initiates. Qualified 5th yesterday. Really high on the bank. Kyle Mohan hanging tough in the lone rotary in competition, the American Ethanol. Austin Tricks RX-8. Switching chassis from MX-5 now to the RX-8 this year. James Dean, it's a new chassis for him. Might look the same. He's dealt with some gremlins. He got on the podium last round of competition. Wants to get up there once again.
Well, James Dean continuing here. Looks like he's fixed those gremlins so far. You can see he gets out to a good jump here. He's super high on the bank. That rear wheel right in the groove. Up against the railing there. Mohan trying to close the door here. He's able to close the gap a little bit as they enter that second outside zone, but Dean on the throttle. Big angle there as he leaves the second outside zone and very tight on that inside clip. Now here he comes through that last section of the course. He's out to the touch and go. A little bit less angle there from Mohan, but he's able to keep relative proximity there, even with the quick and grippy car of James Dean.
Let's alternate order here. That American Ethanol, Mazda Tricks, Mazda RX, and a new father, his wife Adrian, and them. Got Max Mohan. Right on. As we are seeing Michael Essa now pull up through the chute, warmed up their Achilles tires. Essa Autosports, the former champ, Michael Essa. The Essa Autosports Redline Oil, BMW, and there comes the hot boy. It's lit, Ryan Litteral, babyface killer. That Power Stop CoroWorks Nissan 350Z. Has some Energy Innovations goodies on it. CoroWorks operated out of Atlanta. And here we go with this battle. You can see Ryan Litteral. As a chase vehicle, you are allowed to jump the light. And here comes Michael Essa. And Ryan Litteral. Essa, big angle from him. Nice job as Ryan Litteral going to hammer down. Finding grip in those Nexon tires. Really slingshot to the side of that BMW goes Ryan Litteral. Woo! Look at that. Shredding some bumpers. Now coming into that touch and go and that final front clip. Getting hyped. You could see Michael Essa shredding that back bumper in that second outer zone. Didn't know if that was because of contact or just flew off.
Well, we saw Essa just looking absolutely amazing yesterday, especially up on the big bank. He does the same thing here, but Ryan Litteral has been so fast, aggressive, and you can see he's pushing the pace, charging on the inside here, right in the pocket up against Michael Essa, and he sticks to it, and he stays on an incredible line here. A little bit less angle, there's some wavering there, and you can see that's where he loosened the bumper. Essa through that second inside clip, back on throttle, big smoke line, and you can see Litteral trying to cut through the smoke line as well to gain proximity. Great first battle there by both of these strong competitors in the top 32.
Yeah, that really could have been bad. You know, sometimes we've seen bumpers fly off, get underneath the vehicle, and cause the chase car to get out of sorts. But not the case here. Ryan Litteral kept pushing, even though the bumper in his face. So Ryan Litteral will now lead Michael Essa in that chase position. And we are clear to send. Ryan Litteral, power stop, brakes. CoroWorks 350Z. Leaves the start line. Got a clean start. Johnny drops in with that drone. And a gap here between Litteral and Essa. Let's see if he can gain some ground. Slams down, taking out that front clip, and Essa going into Ryan Litteral. Ryan Litteral continues on. Want to look at the tail of the tape when we go to the instant replay. Getting out to the touch and go goes Litteral, and now back into that front clip. Litteral definitely could have been tighter to the front clip. Let's take a look at this again here, Ryan.
Well, drivers are supposed to be accelerating through that first inside clip, so let's take a look here. As you said, a gap established. Litteral out front, nice and high on the bank, leaving at the right time. Here comes Essa. He gets a little bit weird right there on that section of the course through that inside clip. Looks like he was pushing a bit too hard there, didn't leave enough room to transition, and now Litteral is out front. So that'll be a big point that the judges will want to take a look at as we finish up this run. A little bit of a twitch from the front wheels there from Ryan Litteral, way wide on that final inside clip, and that allows an opening for Essa to close the door. Here it is coming through that inside clip, and you can see Essa just didn't have enough room to initiate there. Now, after that inside clip, that is where that decel zone is, so Essa should be anticipating that. You could see there was that lift there from Litteral as he was getting ready to make that transition from inside clip 1 to outside zone 2. So right here, after you transition there, that's where they expect the decel zone to be. So the judges are definitely going to be taking a close look at that.
Michael Essa, very smooth. Qualifying 12th, Litteral qualifying 21st. Here we go, slide him left for Litteral or right for Michael Essa. Looks like Michael Essa gets the unanimous decision. Lantain, going to you. it was unanimous.
Yeah, it came down to Ryan Litteral slowing down at inside clip 1. There was a huge lift from him there. You can see the break in the smoke line, which gave Michael Essa nowhere to go. This is something that we pointed out in the drivers' meeting. We were very specific, and we told them we were going to be really strict on that inside clip and inside clip 2 as well, going into the touch and go. You have to be on throttle through there, rotate the car for the next zone or touch and go, and at that point, slow down the car. You can't slow down at the inside clip, and Ryan Litteral just paid the price for that.
All right, so Michael Essa advances on. Now we revisit the one more time battle of Pat Goodin and Matt Field. So Essa will be going against James Dean. Forrest Wang will be going against the winner of this battle. Here we go, Pat Goodin. Matt Field. Pat Goodin throwing it in. Matt Field right there, hanging in the smoke. Both them very clean lines so far. Matt Field very familiar with the car that Pat Goodin is driving. Good transition. Now gets out to that touch and go. Pat Goodin, whoa, gets way too much of that touch and go. More of a crash and go versus a touch and go. So Pat just trying to drop some weight here. Loses front bumper on the first battle, now the back bumper on this battle.
Here's the initiation here for Pat Goodin, and you can see that Matt Field is trying to keep the pressure on here, coming down off the bank through that inside clip. Nice job by Goodin. Surging forward is Matt Field. Look at Goodin is a little bit deeper of a line here. Field's trying to get in the right position. Now he is keeping good pressure on through that inside clip, and then wrapping back around. Goodin goes up on that touch and go area, up a bit off course. And we're seeing some good action here as these teammates really throwing it down and mixing things up.
That S14.5 there that Pat Goodin is behind the wheel of, that took Matt Field to a few victories when he was campaigning that car. Parked it, was a demo car. And at an event previously, LS Fest, Pat Goodin got behind the wheel of it. And that, I think, sparked and spawned the concept of Pat Goodin driving this vehicle. So Matt Field, looks like he got a little contact there, that front left corner. And we'll clear the track, and we will be clear to send momentarily. And we are clear to send. Matt Field will lead. Pat Goodin giving chase. Second half of this first one more time battle. Are there going to be more, or is somebody going to get the win? Field or Goodin? Field initiates. Locked and loaded. Now slamming down. No disruption. Both the vehicles handle it. No problem. Those Parts Shop Max parts. Taking a lick and keep on ticking. And now into that touch and go. Goes Field and really tight to that final front clip.
Well, these teammates really having a blast driving together here. It's certainly apparent, no holds barred. Both guys pushing 100%. Field rolling into that initiation nice and high on the bank. And you can see Goodin trying to find an opportunity to get closer to Field. This is a good area on the course to do it. Gets tucked up right on the backside of Matt Field, trying to drive through that smoke line. And then Field wrapping through that inside clip, bringing it back around to that final touch and go. Here comes Field and Goodin trying to close the door. And a good battle once again between these two competitors and teammates as now we go to the judges for the victory on this one more time.
Like I said, a lot of anxiety there from Pat Goodin, and rightfully so, but looks like Matt Field will be getting the win. Pat Goodin makes some noise for him. Matt Field advances on into the top 16. All right, you ready for this? This is a fun one. If you haven't seen it or heard the squealing of the tires, Travis Reeder, the first ever electric drift vehicle. Napoleon Motorsports, Nitto Tires Camaro going against the champion in that 4-cylinder turbo nitrous Rockstar energy drink. Next entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Frederick Osmo will lead. Travis Reeder giving chase. Already disparity here from that Camaro of Reeder. Osmo high on the bank. Now coming on into that first front clip. Out of the smoke comes Reeder with that Camaro into that second outer zone. Look at that snappy transition by Osmo. And Reeder checking up out to that touch and go and tightens it up into that final front clip.
Well, once again, Osmo gets out to a good jump here. You can see that initiation right up along the railing. Reeder trying to close the door. He does a good job of cutting the line, taking a little bit of a mistake on the head to try to gain proximity, but he had really shallow angle there coming through that first inside clip. He surges forward there, but then Osmo is able to pull a gap as Reeder tries to tow up the rear end. Osmo super tight on that inside clip without touching it. Reeder a bit shallow here on the inside. You have to appreciate the effort from Reeder trying to keep proximity even though he's making some mistakes in doing so. And now we will switch things up, and this is going to be a tough challenge here for Osmo as he will now chase down Travis Reeder.
Yeah, this is where the horsepower difference really comes into play here. So Reeder and Osmo, you got to think a rookie vehicle, Napoleon Motorsports coming from traditional road racing, debuting this car, very advantageous to them, just doing something unique, shaking things up, and again, making history here. As Reeder initiates midline on the bank. And now transitioning into that final outer zone. Frederick Osmo right there on the door of the electric slide. That is Reeder's vehicle. Osmo, looks like Reeder, a lot more comfortable out front, gets out to that touch and go and brings it on in.
Overall, both drivers given everything they got here in this battle, but it looks like Osmo just a bit too consistent here, especially with that great lead run, and was able to keep proximity on in his chase.
Slide him left for Reeder or right for Frederick Osmo. Again, Reeder in the first ever electric drift vehicle, but Osmo too much to handle. The Norwegian Hammer gets the victory. Our most recent victor in Atlanta gets the win and advances on in that Rockstar Energy next entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Hillbrun, Taguchi, and looks like, sounds like we are ready to go. Judges ready, tracks ready. And here we go. Lights extinguish, and we got a clean start. Hillbrun initiated into the bank. Taguchi right there as well. Oh, just I say that he drops down a little bit lower than Hillbrun. Both of them dialed in on that front clip. Both of them dialed in on that second outer zone. Now transitioning, going to the touch and go. Taguchi lunges forward, but always continually keeping a fairly safe buffer between Hillbrun and Taguchi. No, really like what Taguchi's doing. He's really stepped up tremendously, and not even so much the, his driving has always been there. Just having the vehicle running properly, getting it up to snuff. Kazuya Taguchi will now lead. Hillbrun giving chase. Taguchi ripping away from Hillbrun into that outside zone. Great job by Kazuya Taguchi. Now sliding into that second outer zone, really getting into the groove. Maxing out that angle, allowing Hillbrun. So with that angle comes a little bit slowing down till Hillbrun gets close, but Taguchi needs to tighten it up, and he does. Man, really keeping it out there a while on that touch and go. All right, results coming in here. Slide him left for Taguchi, right for Hillbrun. Ryan says Taguchi, Andy says one more time, and Brian says one more time. So they are going at it again. We just cursed ourselves. We talked about that one more times, and and there it is.
Yeah, this track seems to bring that out in everybody. You know, the driver's so much experience here and really comfortable, not making a lot of mistakes. These battles seem to be the one more times where it's not the one more times where there's a lot of mistakes and you just want to see somebody be the clear victor, where both guys have really good moments in each run, and it actually is difficult to choose. So you can see why the judge is going one more time there.
I think it really comes down to neither of them was really the enforcer in the chase position. They kind of just kept that safe buffer. Nobody was really being more dominant.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so Peter Physik, Austin Meeks. Peter Physik qualifying 7th, Austin Meeks qualifying 26th. And here we go. Peter ripping away from Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks now initiated into the bank. Peter potentially dragging bumper there. I'm going to get lost in the smoke. That Falcon tire smoke coming into that outer zone. Here comes Austin really attacking. Austin 316, yes. Now out to the touch and go. Peter maxing out that angle. Massive angle coming off of that touch and go and into that final clip.
Yeah, well, you saw Meeks really getting close on that second outside zone. Let's take a look at it from the beginning. And it was really Physik getting out to a good jump, nice and high on the bank, pulling that gap. But as soon as we got into that second outside zone, Austin Meeks was able to close the door. He did go up a little bit on that bank. So let's look at it from the overhead cam. You can see a good jump by Physik. And then he's nice and high. He has a pretty established gap here. But Meeks is going to not let him get away. He's going to push hard here through this inside clip. He's going to come up on the inside here as Physik goes deep into this zone. But Meeks got up a little bit on the bank there for a second, but he was still aggressive in his approach and able to close the door a little bit. Physik out front as the lead driver. This is a very solid, like 95-point run in qualifying, and that's a great start for him. So Meeks got his work cut out for him in the lead position, and we know Physik can be devastating in the chase, so we've got a good second half of the battle on our hands here.
Yeah, it seems that Meeks just had like an extra little something there on that second outer zone. He just lunged forward, and then Peter just maxing out that angle around that final front clip. Austin Meeks, that ferocious Motorsports, Nexen Tire, Cadillac ATSV on Nexen Tires, and Peter Physik right there. The Candyman from Poland gets up in the biz of Austin Meeks on that second outer zone and transitioning. Now back into that final touch and go. And there, look, I mean, just maxing out that angle. Well done by both the drivers. Good driving there by Austin Meeks up front, but Peter Physik not letting him go anywhere.
Yeah, well, Physik does a great job here on the initiation. He anticipates where Austin is going to go, and he's on midline, and that way he's able to stay with him, not initiate on the high line and then give Austin that gap. He was able to anticipate it and get right next to him door to door, and you can see Physik ever so close as they rip through this second outside zone. The transition back around, nice job by Meeks, but right here Physik closing the door once again and keeping the pressure on as both drivers come through the finish line.
And slide him left for Meeks or right for Peter Physik. And Tuerck gets the win unanimously. Chelsea Denofa always turn it to 11. He's even got a tattoo of the knob turned to 11 on his back. Rad Dan, that thing is popping and locking. Sounds like Rice Krispie treats on the track. Snap, crackle, pop. That Rad Industries. Nexen Tire Toyota Supra, but Chelsea Denofa, he's been really throwing down in that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Ready to rowdy. A little nitrous spray. Let's have some fun. Here we go. Chelsea Denofa, Dan Burkett. Send it. Chelsea Denofa initiating into the bank. Wow, Dan Burkett. Oh, and a hard hit. Dan Burkett goes high on the bank, taps that back bumper, and it just sucks him up into the wall. as we have a full course yellow. That was a hard hit that Dan Burkett took. A great looking car, make sure he's okay.
Yeah, that was a nasty hit by Burkett, and you can see the damage sustained to the front left, but also the rear as well, which is what induced the front to go into the wall. He was driving through Peter's smoke line. Let's take a look at this, Jared.
I mean, it absolutely sucked him up.
It really did. You could see Denofa's nice and high on the bank, and right
Boom.
there from Burkett, he was already very high on the bank. The back hit and the front whipped around and caught and just totally destroyed his left front end at the vehicle. And make sure that
Make some
he's
noise
doing
for him
okay.
as he gets out of his vehicle. Chelsea Denofa waits in the wings. We'll find out what transpires, but like I said, doesn't look promising here for that great-looking Toyota Supra.
So Jared, here we are. We've got Chelsea Denofa on the line by himself, which means that Dan Burkett is going to be out of competition. Denofa will solidify the victory here by taking his bye run and moving on into the top 16.
All right, Chelsea Denofa with the bye run. He'll be going against Peter Physik in top 16. Not the way you want to win with your competitor going hard into the wall, but a win is a win. So Denofa will advance on. And get the victory. Hillbrun on the start line. You can hear the GTR powered S15 of Taguchi in the background. Just the tolerances here. Like I said, in their first battle, I just didn't feel like anybody was the enforcer. Nobody really stuck it to the door, gave themselves a bit of a safe buffer here. So who's gonna rise to the occasion? Hillbrun or Taguchi? Hillbrun initiates, very similar to what it looked like on their first battle. Now coming down in that first front clip, you see Taguchi back off a little bit. Let's see if he can regain that position. Gets into that groove. Now wrapping around that front clip. Oh, and Taguchi getting out to the touch and go. So Ryan, again, just some little things here and there about Hillbrun's run.
Well, let's take a look at it here from this viewpoint. As you can see, Hillbrun mid-line on the initiation, stays pretty much there. Taguchi taking advantage of it, being able to close the door a little bit, but then he falls off through that inside clip. Hillbrun trying to scoot out deep as he can into this second outside zone. A little bit less angle there from Taguchi as you can see the smoke line just hitting his car. Taguchi tightens it up right here, but then he pushes a little bit hard and goes wide. And he has to try to gain ground as they finish things up.
The up garage, Sylvia getting prepared to now lead on this one more time battle. Kazuya Taguchi, Alex Hillbrun in that chase position. Let's see if we have a clear-cut victor. The winner to go against Frederick Osmo in the top 16. And here we go. Taguchi initiates. Oh wow, look at that. Taguchi pulling away from Hillbrun. Smoke filling the forest. Hillbrun, oh, lunges forward, overshoots it. And Hillbrun trying to just bring that aggression, but just kind of just missing the target there on a couple of those instances. And now bringing it around, goes Taguchi into that final clip.
Well, it looks like, Jared, that Hillbrun really didn't anticipate Taguchi's initiation to match it with him, and he allowed Taguchi to get out ahead. It looks like he was trying to head up a little bit higher, and then as soon as he sees this gap, he gets on it. Watch how close he gets right here. Rubs the bumper, and now he's on the inside line here. He's going to want to try to sweep back around, get back into the pocket there against Taguchi, and try to close the door. Taguchi out front looking solid here, whipping it through, getting on that first hash mark. Great job, nice fluid transition back around. He gets up a little bit on the course there and leaves an opening for Hillbrun, who rides right along the back end of his bumper there and comes to the close as he passes through the finish line. So another tough one for the judges here.
I think the needle might be going the way of Taguchi, but here we go. Ryan, Andy, and Brian say slide him left for Taguchi, right for Hillbrun. Ryan says Taguchi, Andy says Taguchi. Kazuya Taguchi unanimously gets the win and is moving on into the top 16. Next stop for him to go against Frederick Osmo. Ryan, we got 4 battles left here. Next up, Yoshihara, Kevin Lawrence. Said 4 more battles left here in the top 32. Top 32 scheduled to go till 3 o'clock. Looks like might just go a bit beyond that. The top 16. Here we go. Yoshihara, turn 14 distribution. Falcon Tires, Ineos Oil, Super BRZ. It's being chased down by Kevin Lawrence from Orlando, Florida. Yoshihara initiates. One of the Formula Drift veterans, Kevin Lawrence, little shimming there, losing it there in the chase position. That RB powered S13. And now bringing it around out of that outer zone into that front clip. Kevin Lawrence, whoa! Jumps up to the side of the Super BRZ of Yoshihara. And into that final clip goes Dai and Lawrence.
Well, I love Lawrence's approach here. See, he tucks behind, he initiates right with Dai, floats with him out to this deepest part of the zone, but then he makes a little bit of a mistake there. He reduces his angle as he comes on that middle section of the course. Then he gets back on the gas, nearly taps Dai, but he's able to tuck back behind. Now, meanwhile, out front, is Dai's running a really smooth, clean lead line here. He's whipping it right into the second inside clip on that first hash mark. Lawrence keeping the pressure on here, trying to gain some ground against Taijiro Yoshihara. And yet another good battle here. Lawrence, a couple little mistakes in the chase, but they were all made from an aggressive standpoint. So now Dai's really going to have to put down a solid chase run, and Lawrence will have to take a look at how Dai competed in his lead and try to match or better that.
All right, Kevin Lawrence from Orlando, Florida, in Juku Racing, BC Racing, S13. And here we go. Sorry. Actually, S14.3, look at that. So as Kevin Lawrence now comes down into that first front clip. Yoshihara with a big correction there, a major mistake from Yoshihara. You can see them exploding that entry point of that outside zone. Now transitioning into that front clip. Dai lunges to the side of the S chassis, and now he's sticking it to him. Ryan, I saw you shaking your head there, and just unfortunately for Yoshihara, he had a couple major mistakes.
Well, he looked great right there towards the end, but he really didn't anticipate the launch from Lawrence. He let Lawrence get out really far. Now, the good thing for Dai is Lawrence was a bit lower on the bank in his lead run, but look at that mistake by Dai in the chase, right? That's a big straight in there, so that is certainly going to count against him. Dai here starting to close the door, but Lawrence looking pretty good out front. You can see Dai also had to back off there, and he comes up a little bit late on that second inside clip. Now wrapping around, this is where Dai looks the most settled here, very, very close. Lawrence backed off just for a second there, and we saw some mistakes from both drivers. Dai with that big one through that first inside clip, and now the judges.
Next up, Ken Gushi versus Matt Kaufman. Ken Gushi and that 2JZ powered. All right, so the verdict is in. Ryan says one more time. Andy and Brian, one more time. Ryan Lantain, going to you. Another one more time, bud.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes made by both drivers. It was not clean from either one in either position. We'd like to see one driver really show us who can dominate in both positions, so we're going to get them to go again.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan Lantain. Moving on to our next battle, so one more time for Yoshihara and Lawrence. All right, Gushi will lead. Ken Gushi qualifying 14th, Matt Kaufman qualifying 19th, a fairly equally matched battle here. Ken Gushi, 2JZ powered, ready performance, Toyota racing, Toyota 86. Kaufman in that Ford power plant under the hood of the S13. And now coming off of that bank into that front clip. Into that second outer zone. See Gushi, some separation in that second front clip, getting out to the touch and go. Let's see how they handle this. Kaufman, not as deep an angle that Gushi had. Some great driving, but Gushi looking really strong out front.
Let's take a look at the bank. This is how it sets it up. I like Kaufman's approach here. Gushi gets nice and high on the bank from the get-go. Stays high. You can see Kaufman down a bit lower there. Now coming into this inside clip, some separation. Kaufman needs to get on the gas here. Gushi back on it. He's just on the inside. Now he gets out to the deepest part of that zone. Comes off a little bit early. Here comes Kaufman through the smoke line. Gushi on that first hash mark on that second inside clip. Staying on throttle here, trying to draw that smooth line to that final section. And Kaufman about a car length back as they come through the finish line, switching things up now as Matt Kaufman goes to lead and Ken Gushi will chase him down.
And looks like they're ready to go. The Achilles tires underneath Matt Kaufman. And no restart, here we go. Kaufman flicks it into the wall, into the barrier. Ken Gushi right there in formation. Past that front clip, into the second outer zone goes Kaufman, and Gushi shadows him. Just tucked right in. Around that second front clip, now into this final touch and go and front clip. Kaufman and Gushi. Make some noise. Some phenomenal driving there by Ken Gushi in the chase position. Kaufman had a great lead run, but Gushi was just very strong in the chase.
Right up on the pocket, right out of the gate. He stays with them through that bank, a very important part of the track. He starts locking in once again. So one of the themes of this run here for Ken Gushi in the chase is proximity and also the duration, the length that he was able to do it. Matching his angle here, coming up on the inside on this second inside clip, staying close to him. Kaufman running a really good lead run out here, but he's not able to get away from Gushi, and Gushi in the chase position is maintaining really good proximity and mimicking him as they go from transition, to transition all the way through that last one. Here we go.
And there it is, it's unanimous. Ken Gushi gets the win. Unfortunately for Matt Kaufman, he is knocked out. All right, both these guys, supercharged LSs under the hood. Getting prepped. And sounds that we are clear to send. Again, Bochie winning round 1 and round 2. Osmo winning round 3. Who's going to come out on top? New Jersey, we will find out. Before the sun sets, Bochie out front, initiates. Massive angle from Bochie. Taylor Hall chasing him down. On that Cadillac. Definitely gets better and better every round when he is going against the current points leader. Showing you why he is the current points leader with 2 victories under his belt. As they bring it around that final clip, Bochie did exactly what he needed to do.
Well, here we go. Tall order for Taylor Hull, taking on Bochie in the top 32, but not going to back down. Going to keep the pressure on the current leader in the series. You can see right here, Bochie gets into that second outside zone. He's got that left rear wheel right at the edge of the course there. Here comes Taylor Hull trying to put the pressure on Bochie as Bochie's just nudged that second inside clip. The final turn here, smooth line by Bochie as Taylor Hull maintaining relative proximity there. But overall, a solid lead run for Odie, and now Taylor Hull is going to have to do the same thing. Odie, Jared, known for his chase runs here, you can assure that he's going to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, Odie is, we always talk about it, the battles that stand out in my mind is when Odie chases down, especially at Long Beach. Just seems like he just finds an extra little horsepower there, and just a little more talent as far as the chase. All right, so here we go. Taylor Hull in the lead position. Bochie right there. So giving himself a little bit of room here on the bank. See if Odie can get to the side of that Cadillac. Taylor Hull looking really good out front. Big angle there from Hull. Full pull Hull into that touch and go and into the final front clip. Bochie just barely nudging it over. Ryan.
Second run here, second half with Taylor Hull out front. Bochie following his line, giving him a tiny bit of room, but keeping that proximity pretty tight here. Now Odie starting to close the door. Great job by Taylor Hull getting into the crease there of that second outside zone. Going a little bit too far there as he goes up onto the lower part of the bank. And again, right there as well, Odie making some good adjustments to keep the pressure on here. And you have to imagine with that good lead run by Odie and a pretty consistent chase here, the judges are going to favor the consistency overall, and this is definitely a must-win for Odie Bochie as the current points leader. Definitely don't want a 32 out. So we'll now go to the judges and see what they decided here for Taylor Hull and Odie Bochie.
Yeah, that would shake things up tremendously if Odie Bochie got knocked out here in the 32. So we are going back to the OMT of Yoshihara and Lawrence. And there it is, slide him right for Odie Bochie. Odie gets the win and advances on into the top 16. So our points leader still surviving here and moving on. Yoshihara and Lawrence, the one more time battle between them. I think Dai was definitely caught off guard by Kevin Lawrence and just putting it all together. It was really working out for him there on the first battle and threw Dai off. And he made some major mistakes. So now Dai Yoshihara will lead. Turn 14 distribution. Ineos Oil Falcon Tire Subaru BRZ. Yoshihara initiates. Right on time as Lawrence goes for it once again. Looks like he has a small mistake around that first front clip. Oh, and Lawrence looks like he gets into the bank and it throws him offline. Major mistake there by Kevin Lawrence. And now into that final front clip goes Yoshihara. And also with that crossing of the finish line, a major advantage.
Well, we saw the accumulation of mistakes from both drivers in that first run, the straightening by Dai and the mistakes that Lawrence had culminating in the one more time. This time, both drivers trying to clean that up. Dai gets out front, does a nice job on the bank. Watch Lawrence in the chase here. Like you said, Jared, he's going to go up on the bank here, lose traction, and not be able to finish the run on that particular line. So that'll be the big mistake from him in the chase. Dai out front, looking pretty solid here, but now he's got to back it up with the clean chase run, and Lawrence hopefully can put some pressure on Dai by mimicking or bettering his lead run overall. There's the mistake from Lawrence once again in that chase position. Really tough when you go up on that lower part of the bank to maintain the line that you need, and we often see that where drivers will spin out or not be able to continue on. So switching things up here, Kevin Lawrence taking the lead.
Kevin Lawrence now out front. RB powered S14.3 going against Dai Yoshihara. And there goes Kevin once again. Really throwing it out there, Dai Yoshihara. Somewhat of a late entry there from Yoshihara. Kevin Lawrence punts that front clip out of the way. Flirting with that bank over there. Really disrupts the car quite a bit. Now that's that touch and go, Yoshihara. Yoshihara taking a very shallow line. Lawrence goes wide. So throwing off Yoshihara. Yoshihara took a very awkward line on that touch and go.
Yeah, he was a little bit short there. Let's follow it from the beginning here. Lawrence, great job on initiation. He gets high on the bank here, but he starts to lose angle and pull down a little bit. Dai makes an adjustment coming through this first inside clip. Lawrence taps it. Now he gets up a little bit again on that bank. This time he's able to pull it off. He doesn't get up as high. Dai trying to make some adjustments in the chase, keep that pressure on. Watch Dai right here. He's not going to get out to the touch and go. He transitioned a bit too early, and he came in a bit tight. Lawrence is on that wider line, and he misses the last inside clip. So once again, both drivers struggling in certain parts of the course, but was this enough between Kevin Lawrence and Daijiro Yoshihara to get a victor? Here we go.
Slide him left for Lawrence or right for Daijiro Yoshihara. Gets the win. Yoshihara gets the win and advances on. That means we have one more battle left. Monster Energy, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR on Nitto tires, and Dean Carnage Kearney behind the wheel of the Oracle Lighting Achilles tire Dodge Viper. Von Gittin Jr., the professional fun haver, RTR, ready to rock. Dean Kearney looked really good yesterday, as did Von Gittin Jr. Von qualifying 11th, Dean qualifying 22nd. right, just being sprayed and purged. Here we go. What could be our final battle, or what could be our final battle, or is it going to be a one more time? Dean jumping the light a little bit there, and that's fine. Again, as Vaughn Gittin Jr. buzzes the tower and initiates high on the bank. Now drops down into that first front clip. Into that second outer zone goes Vaughn. Now here's Dean Kearney. Those Achilles tires hooking up, gaining some ground. Doesn't get all the way out to that touch and go, but now tightens it up to that final front clip.
Well, that was an interesting start there. We're catching the replay from right where it actually looked a little bit more normal, but a pretty interesting situation coming out of the gate there. Let's get to the run as we see Dean and Vaughn Gittin Jr. coming through that first inside clip. Dean diving in, putting the pressure on Vaughn. Vaughn really tucked in deep to that second outside zone, goes up a little bit on the lower part of the bank. Better job on that inside clip. Dean on the inside. Oh, he looks like he's going to miss the touch and go here as he comes up a little bit short. And now they'll switch things up, but it looked like from the start line, Jared, Dean got out pretty early, and then as the light went off and Vaughn left, Vaughn wanted to have room to initiate down where he supposedly usually does, and it got a little bit weird there as both drivers were not able to get into that front corner together. So now we will switch things up as Dean Kearney will take the lead and Vaughn will be chasing him down.
And here we go, the second half of this battle. Dean Kearney out front. Oracle lining Dodge Viper, massive initiation and angle. Vaughn Gittin Jr. right there. Dean works his way to the top of the bank. And now into that second outer zone go these two muscle cars. Woo, look at that. Vaughn tucks in right to the side of the Dodge Viper. Dean Kearney, no problem on that touch and go with him out front, and Vaughn making his presence felt. Let him know you're here, New Jersey.
Well, some big pressure moments there applied to Dean Kearney from Vaughn Gittin Jr. Look at that snap by Dean. He has to pull a little bit of angle out, but a great job, aggressive initiation. Vaughn keeping the pressure on. It was a little bit lower at one point in the bank. He falls back for a second there. He misses that inside clip coming through the center section of the course, but now pouring the pressure on. Dean looking for big angle here, leaving that second outside zone, ripping it back around is Dean Kearney. Vaughn trying to stay close. The final turn here, both drivers out to the touch and go, surging forward is Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Dean come through that finish line together, and a good battle there with a lot of pressure by Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the chase and some solid points from Dean Kearney overall in his lead.
This is to be our final battle. Do we have it one more time? Do we have a winner? Slide him left for Dean Kearney or right for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win and advances on.